They say he died at 21. But if you believe that, you ain't been paying attention. His name was Henry McCarty. Went by William H. Bonney. The world remembers him as Billy the Kid. Born likely November 23, 1859, in the slums of New York City, he was a skinny Irish-American boy raised by a single mother. When she died of tuberculosis in Silver City, New Mexico Territory, Billy was orphaned at 14 and tossed to the wind like desert dust. By 15, he was arrested for stealing laundry. By 17, he'd shot and killed Windy Cahill, a bully blacksmith in Arizona Territory who pushed too hard. The law called it murder, but folks who were there said it was self-defense. After that, he vanished into the southern plains, drifting between ranches and skirmishes, his reputation spreading like wildfire. Then came Lincoln County, New Mexico. The Murphy Dolan outfit controlled everything: banks, beef, bullets, and the sheriff's badge. But a young Englishman named John Tunstall tried to stand up to the monopoly. Billy worked for him, and when Tunstall was gunned down in cold blood, Billy took an oath. He formed the Regulators, a posse with a list and a score to settle. They killed Sheriff William Brady in broad daylight. They hunted down the men who ambushed Tunstall. They fought the Battle of Lincoln, 5 days of gunfire and firebombs in the dusty streets. The U.S. Army was called in. The Murphy faction won. Billy was branded an outlaw. But here's what they don't teach in school. Billy tried to go straight. Governor Lew Wallace, the same guy who wrote Ben-Hur, offered him a deal: testify in court and get a full pardon. Billy held up his end. Wallace didn't. Betrayed, hunted, cornered, Billy still slipped through the cracks. Then came his most famous escape. April 28, 1881, locked up in the Lincoln courthouse, under the watch of deputies James Bell and Bob Ollinger, Billy asked for a bathroom break. He slipped out of his cuffs, stole Bell's own pistol, and shot him on the staircase. Then he waited. When Ollinger returned, Billy took the deputy's own shotgun, the very one he used to taunt Billy with, and blasted him through the chest. Witnesses say Billy leaned out the courthouse window and whispered, "Guess I got him, too." He stole a horse and rode out of Lincoln again. Sheriff Pat Garrett, once a drinking buddy, was now his executioner. He tracked Billy to Fort Sumner and claimed to have shot him in the dark, in Pete Maxwell's bedroom, July 14, 1881. No autopsy, no verified corpse photo, buried before sunrise. Garrett's story didn't add up, and many in Lincoln said the body wasn't even his. But the legend was more useful dead. Then, nearly 70 years later, in Hamilton County, Texas, an old man named Brushy Bill Roberts walked into history. He claimed he was Billy the Kid, and he didn't want money, didn't want fame. He just wanted the pardon he was promised in 1879. At first, it sounded like nonsense, but then Brushy started talking. He described the Lincoln courthouse interior in perfect detail, where the rifles were stored, how the stairs angled, what Ollinger said before he died. He listed the Regulators by name. He recalled the layout of Tunstall's ranch, fencing, livestock counts, even the ledgers. He named the brand of shotgun used in the breakout. He could recite court testimonies no one had access to. Then came the forensics. 93% facial match confirmed by photographic overlay between Brushy and the only known image of Billy the Kid, the tintype from Fort Sumner. Scar on the left thigh, matching the documented gunshot Billy took in Arizona. Black powder burn on the cheek, consistent with the close-quarters blast that killed Ollinger. Broken, twisted teeth, described in 1880's first-hand accounts, matched Brushy exactly. Linguists and handwriting experts analyzed Brushy's writings. Same slant, same loops, same pressure, same grammar quirks. He spoke like Billy, wrote like Billy, remembered like Billy. More than a dozen surviving witnesses, Regulators, townsfolk, their children, confirmed Brushy was the same man they'd known as Billy the Kid. No one ever disproved it. But when Brushy went before Governor Mabry in 1950 to request his pardon, he was ambushed. Reporters mocked him. Photographers blinded him. He'd had 2 strokes already. He stammered. He shut down. Mabry denied the pardon. Brushy died less than a month later. Heart failed from the stress. No DNA test, no public exhumation, and the so-called grave in Fort Sumner. It's been flooded, washed out, and unverified since the early 1900s. Even the governor's office later admitted there was never any formal effort to prove or disprove his identity. Because if Brushy was Billy, Garrett's legacy is a lie. The law failed, and Billy didn't die in 1881. He walked out of Lincoln 69 years later, still chasing the justice he was promised. So the question stands, why didn't they test his DNA? Why didn't they try to disprove him? And how the hell did he know everything? I'll tell you why. Because Brushy Bill Roberts wasn't pretending. He was tired of hiding. And this time, he came to finish the story himself. Till we ride again, partner, keep your powder dry, your story straight, and your boots out of the fire, and never trust a quiet saloon.